Hello everyone, welcome back to our March podcast. We're super excited to have you guys here. And this month we are going to be talking about the internship search. So I know a lot of you high school students are looking for summer internships or work opportunities. So we're going to help you guys find some different ideas on how to find some jobs. And we also have an awesome interview with an aerospace engineering student here at UC. So she will be able to fill you guys in a little bit more on aerospace and what it entails as a major. So stay tuned for that. So one of the ways to start your internship search is to use the right websites. So the big websites to use for an internship search are mainly Google. You can just Google like internships in your area, or you can go even more in depth on like Indeed or on LinkedIn. So one of the best things to do when you're searching is to use the right keywords. If you don't use the right keywords, you're not going to get good results. So one of the best words, especially for a student, like a high school student, is to use the word student in your search, because they will tailor it to jobs that don't have a lot of work experience required. So that's one thing that you can go ahead and do, and hopefully that will help your search be a little bit better. You also can filter by location, by if you already know kind of what you want to do. You can filter it by the job description or like the type of field you want to work in. And you also don't limit yourself to the companies that are hiring. If you see a company that you really like, but they're not hiring for an intern, feel free to reach out to someone. Look up their HR email online and send them an email and just say, hey, I'd love to work for your company, and, how do I make that happen? And more likely than not, they will respond to you and try to help you out as best as possible. So going off of that, when you write those emails to recruiters or HR representatives, make sure to, introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about why you want to work at that company. And, just be yourself and explain why you're interested and excited about getting work experience. And another way to help make yourself stand out is to, after applying for a position, if you apply like through a job service or something, make sure to send an email to an HR representative. Just, again, introducing yourself, stating why you're excited to work here, and just say that you reached out or that you applied and you really want to work here. So definitely some good tips to make sure you stand out and help you get that interview.
Yeah, so some other ways to help keep you organized throughout this internship searching process is to create an Excel spreadsheet that kind of specifies the types of scholarships or programs that you're searching for, the different deadlines there may be, what's required for the application for the program or internship, and any other kind of exceptions or quirks of the program. Then you can kind of continually update this file as you receive responses from the different companies. And then also, if you're applying to several different types of programs, this table could also include things like the location, possible stipends, and kind of the duration or dates of the program. And then, so some other different opportunities we've heard about here in Cincinnati are programs that Cincinnati Children's provides, such as the Summer High School Internship Program and the Surf Summer Program. Heard really good things about those. And then finally, just another tip to keep in mind is to always remember to talk to your friends and family, because you never know what kind of cool jobs people have that may interest you. And then, just like Callie said, creating a LinkedIn profile sooner than later will really help you build connections and find those cool opportunities through cool networking events and just things people are sharing out there on LinkedIn.
Okay, so up next we have an interview with an aerospace engineer, Millie. Do you mind introducing yourself, Millie?
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Millie Steen. I am currently a second year studying aerospace engineering in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit about me.
Do you mind explaining what aerospace engineering is?
Yeah, so aerospace engineering, a lot of people like to compare it to mechanical engineering, because at a lot of other universities, you might find that you major in mechanical engineering with an emphasis in aerospace or aviation. At the University of Cincinnati, we're pretty cool in that we have a whole degree planned out where not only will you take the core mechanical engineering classes to be able to do anything mechanical, but you'll take extra classes that'll go deeper into what it means to be an aerospace engineer, to work in the aviation industry, to work in aerospace, to, we'll take classes like rocket propulsion or special thermodynamics for when you do send something up into the airspace or like into outer space. Physics is going to work very differently when you're outside of the atmosphere. And so learning about like those different types of things as opposed to just basic mechanics, you kind of go that extra mile. And so, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
That's really cool. So why did you pick aerospace? What brought you towards aerospace engineering?
So what brought me to aerospace engineering, my dad actually served in the Air Force for 20 years. He's a retired major, and he worked as an aircraft maintenance officer in the Air Force. So he met my mom overseas. Then I came along, classic kind of Air Force story. But so I was kind of always around planes because that's obviously what he did. We were in the Air Force. We were moving around a bunch. And he ended up retiring at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio, which to people who don't know, the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base that in Dayton is home to the National Air Force Museum. So like anything related to the Air Force is probably in that museum in some way, shape, or form, and it's completely free to the public. And my parents were trying to find cheap ways to entertain me as a child. So with my dad being in the aviation industry, he also has a private pilot license. He would take me flying as a kid. And with a very free aviation kind of directed museum right in my backyard, all signs kind of just pointed to me being interested in aerospace. And when it came time for me to apply to a bunch of different universities, I actually got to sit down with one of my dad's close friends who is an aerospace engineer. And a lot of my high school teachers and even friends were kind of telling me, don't go aerospace. It's too specific. You'll never be able to find a job. And when I talked to this actual aerospace engineer, he kind of just put it like this. He said, you know that you love planes and that you love space and that you want to fly. And so why wouldn't you just specify your degree so that you can guarantee yourself kind of that shoe-in when applying to those different companies, which isn't necessarily to say that all aerospace engineers are going to go into aerospace and that non-aerospace people won't get into aerospace, but it really does kind of, in a sense, give you an edge when you're applying to co-ops and different jobs, because you can say, yeah, not only have I had basic mechanics, but I've actually had orbital mechanics, and I know how things are going to work in space, which is something that a lot of people can't really say.
That's really cool. It kind of seems like all the signs were pointing towards aerospace.
They kind of were. I was kind of hesitant at first because I didn't want to just kind of follow in my dad's footsteps, but in the end, it was like, I can't deny.
It's right
I love it.
It's
yeah,
right
exactly. I love it. So we'll send it.
So you mentioned a couple of classes earlier. What are some other classes that are related to your major that could help people kind of gauge what you do?
Yeah, so the classes that I just took were statics and basic strength of materials, systems engineering, and next semester I'll be taking gas dynamics, and those are some that you might recognize, like the names of them because, like I said, you might get a very similar class with mechanical engineering or even other fields of engineering, but they're taught directly by professors within the aerospace engineering department because, like I said before, UC is really cool in tailoring all of that to kind of an aerospace mindset. So, like, in my systems engineering class, we learned about what it means to put together an entire engineering project. But then we had to put together our own project with our own timelines and everything. And the project that we had to do was design our own plane and, record tests for it, test fly it, make sure that, like, the drawings were all correct and stuff like that. So while systems engineering could be applied to any field of engineering, my class was tailored to kind of focus on flight and aerodynamics and testing your aircraft and stuff like that.
It's pretty cool that a lot of your classes are already specific to your major.
Yeah, it's super fun. I enjoy it.
But a lot of people might be worried that, aerospace engineering just sounds like a lot of schoolwork, a lot of studying. But can you take me through some extracurricular activities that you're involved in?
Yeah, so I'm involved in the Air Force ROTC program here. I'm on an in-college scholarship, which means that after I graduate, I'll be working for the Air Force for at least 4 years, but they'll pay for my college in return, so I'm grateful for that. So I'm very, very involved with them, and I'm within ROTC. I'm a part of Arnold Air Society, which is a professional service organization focused on serving your community through ROTC. And then I'm also part of the color guard. So the people who come out and present the American flag and stuff at football games, basketball games, you name it, that is me. So that's pretty cool. I'm also a ROAR tour guide. So I give campus tours when I'm in classes and stuff, and sit on panels to kind of help prospective students choose the best university, which is UC in my opinion. And then I'm also a pledge for Theta Tau professional engineering fraternity this semester. So after the semester, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be a full-fledged member, and then I'll be able to do even more volunteer work and service with other engineers within the College of Engineering and Applied Science.
That's awesome. That sounds like a pretty full schedule, but that is really cool. So, Millie, you're currently on co-op. Do you mind explaining what a co-op is as well as what you do?
Yeah, so at UC, we're really, really focused on learning by doing, and a co-op, your cooperative opportunity, you get to go out and work in the industry and get paid to do real engineering work that you can do upon graduation. And every student within the College of Engineering and Applied Science is required to do this. That's why all of our degrees are 5-year degrees. And so right now, I am currently on my first co-op rotation at a company called NMG Aerospace up in Akron. And they provide a bunch of different aerospace parts to different aircrafts. It's actually really crazy, the variety of stuff I've been able to do. So I've been able to work on solenoids that go into airplanes and spacecraft and space shuttles. I was able to work on lav and galley tanks and water tanks and heated hoses that are going to go in commercial aircraft, like Gulfstream aircraft and Boeing aircraft. And I'm currently also working on landing gear actuators for the F-35s for Lockheed Martin and, by extension, the Department of Defense. So it's actually really crazy, and I'm hoping that I actually get to go out to their other plant that they have out in Tempe, Arizona. They do all of the evacuation slides and emergency ejection components that go in aircrafts. And if anyone's heard of the story of like Captain Sully, the emergency evacuation gear that they used on that aircraft was actually produced by the company that I currently work for. So in the lobby of my company, they have a handwritten letter by Captain Sully thanking my company for making sure that all of those emergency components worked correctly, because he was able to save everyone on his plane. And so it's really awesome, the variety that I've been able to kind of dabble in, especially as a first-time co-op, because I'm really able to start to learn what I like and start to develop what specific component within aerospace I want to go into.
That's so cool. It's like a second year in college on your very first co-op. You're already working for big name companies.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to be able to have contacts at Collins Aerospace, Lockheed Martin, Boeing. I mean, no one's ever heard of my tiny little company, but it's cool that, like, I know people at those big companies already, so.
All right. Thank you, Millie, for explaining everything about aerospace and what you do.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for listening to this podcast. We'll have one more left, so be sure to tune back in for that podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to reach out to us through our email or social media. So thanks for listening.